The Sabi River, usually a vibrant artery through Kruger, shimmered like hammered bronze under the merciless African sun. Liam Botha, a wildlife photographer whose late 30s had etched character into his weathered face, pressed his lens against his eye, his practical khaki gear blending seamlessly with the dry bush. He was documenting predator interactions for National Geographic, a job that demanded intense focus and an almost surgical detachment. Today, however, the air thrummed with an unusual tension. The prolonged drought had turned the landscape into a canvas of ochre and dust. Waterholes across the park had dwindled to cracked clay, forcing every creature, from skittish impala to the apex predators, toward the Sabi's shrinking, murky embrace. The river's a pressure cooker, Liam. Zolan Debele, a veteran park ranger with the calm alertness of a seasoned guardian, murmured beside him, her sturdy uniform a stark contrast to the parched surroundings. She swept her binoculars across the opposite bank, her brow furrowed. Animals are desperate. Anything could happen. Liam shifted his focus, the telephoto lens finding Tao, the dominant male lion of the pride. A titan, battle-scarred and formidable, Tao stood at the water's edge, a silent sentinel. His tawny fur was matted with dust, his powerful muscles rippling beneath. He scanned the shimmering surface, then the dense reeds, his amber eyes missing nothing, a picture of primal vigilance before his pregnant pride approached for a drink. Moments later, two heavily pregnant lionesses emerged from the acacia thicket. Nala, slightly ahead, moved with a cautious grace, but Zara, larger and clearly further along in her pregnancy, trailed. Her swollen belly, a testament to the lives she carried, was a stark vulnerability in this unforgiving world. She moved slowly, her exhaustion evident. The attack was a blur of primal speed and horrifying power. Without warning, a massive Nile crocodile, unnaturally aggressive, burst from the murky depths. Its ancient jaws, a terrifying snap of bone and muscle, clamped onto Zara's hindquarters. The air ripped with her guttural roar of pain, a sound that tore through Liam's professional composure. Chaos erupted instantly. Tao, a flash of fury, launched himself at the reptile, Nala right behind him, claws tearing at the scaly hide. But the crocodile was relentless, a prehistoric engine of destruction, already dragging Zara deeper into its domain. The water frothed crimson. "This is bad, Liam. She's bleeding heavily. The cubs, it's too risky." Zola's whisper was raw with urgency, her binoculars still glued to the horrific scene. Liam's professional detachment, a carefully cultivated shield against the raw brutality of nature, shattered. He saw more than an animal caught in a predator's grip. He saw a mother, her life and the lives within her, in mortal peril. An agonizing decision pulsed through his veins. Every fiber of his being screamed protocol, screamed self-preservation. But a deeper, more primal instinct, one of compassion and an inexplicable need to act, ignited. Dropping his camera, its expensive lens hitting the dusty ground with a soft thud, Liam snatched the specialized rescue kit from the back of the Jeep, a telescoping pole, usually for freeing animals from snares, not for confronting a full-grown crocodile. This was insane. It would cost him his life. "Liam, stop!" Zola yelled, her voice cracking. "Those are wild predators. You can't." But Liam was already moving, his legs pumping, adrenaline overriding the icy grip of fear. He approached the thrashing struggle, the water clouded with Zara's blood. The sounds of snarling and the sickening crunch of bone were deafening. Tao and Nala fought with desperate ferocity, but the crocodile's death roll was relentless. Dragging Zara into the deeper channel, the lions were losing. The lions. There was a flicker of hope, a desperate, reckless chance. Liam quickly assembled the hooked blade, its narrow, curved edge designed for cutting wire, not for a living, breathing reptile. It was clumsy, imperfect, but it was his only chance. As he neared, the crocodile, sensing a new, smaller threat, momentarily loosened its grip on Zara. Its ancient, unblinking eyes, black and cold, shifted from the thrashing lioness to Liam, a predatory calculation. With a swift, precise movement, Liam wedged the hooked blade under the crocodile's powerful jaws, twisting with all his might. The leverage, the momentary distraction was enough. With a guttural gasp, Zara broke free, scrambling, limping onto the blood-slicked shore. The crocodile, deprived of its meal, sank back into the murky water, leaving only ripples. Silence descended, heavy and suffocating. Liam stood at the river's edge, chest heaving, the rescue pole clutched in his shaking hands. His gaze met Zara's, then Nala's, then finally Tao's. Three apex predators, their attention now fully, intensely, terrifyingly fixed on him. Liam stood rigid, the cool river water lapping at his boots, a stark contrast to the burning intensity of Tao's amber eyes. A low, guttural growl rumbled deep within the massive lion's chest, vibrating through the humid air. Every instinct screamed for Liam to run, to break the terrifying stillness, but he knew any sudden movement could be his last. His breath hitched in his throat, a silent prayer forming on his lips. "Don't move, Liam. Do not run. I'm coming to you." Zola's voice, usually so steady, was tight with controlled fear, her approach agonizingly slow. She knew the rules of this unpredictable wilderness as well as anyone. Behind Tao, the injured Zara collapsed on the shore, a heavy exhalation of pain, blood seeping into the dry earth. Nala stood protectively over her, her gaze fixed on Liam, an unblinking accusation. The tension was a living thing, suffocating. Then something unprecedented happened. Tao took a deliberate step forward, then stopped. The aggressive posture, the coiled power, subtly shifted. The low growl in his chest subsided, replaced by a profound, almost cognitive assessment. His powerful head tilted slightly, his eyes holding Liam's in an unwavering stare that seemed to pierce through the photographer's fear. It wasn't curiosity, it was something deeper, an almost alien understanding. Suddenly, Tao turned from Liam. The dominant male moved towards Zara, his massive body casting a protective shadow. He nudged her head gently with his muzzle, a startling act of concern that defied every expectation of a wild predator in the aftermath of a brutal attack. Zola reached Liam, her hand gripping his arm. "Let them settle," she murmured, her eyes still fixed on the pride. "Slowly, eyes down. Do not challenge them." Liam and Zola began their agonizingly slow retreat, their backs to the formidable trio. Liam couldn't resist a glance back. Tao stood guard over Zara, his regal head held high, Nala a silent sentinel beside him. It was a tableau of surprising family loyalty, a scene Liam had only ever dreamed of capturing through a lens, never living. Back in the relative safety of the Land Rover, Zola immediately grabbed the radio. "Vet unit, this is Ranger Ndebele. We have an injured pregnant lioness, Eastern Sabi Bend. Significant trauma in Nosy Pride. Recommend immediate dispatch." Her voice, though urgent, held its professional composure. Liam, still shaking, secured his camera. "Will she survive?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "What was that behavior from Tao? I've never seen anything like it." Zola paused, her fingers drumming on the dashboard. "Liam, I've been a ranger for over 30 years. I have never seen a male lion show such restraint after an intervention. Never." Almost as if he understood you were trying to help. Her perplexity was evident, a crack in her otherwise unwavering knowledge of the bush. As Liam stowed his rescue pole, his fingers brushed against the hooked blade where it had contacted the crocodile's jaws. He paused. There was a faint, unnatural metallic sheen, almost like flecks of dull silver, embedded in the rough surface of the pole. It felt wrong, out of place. "Zola," Liam started, "did you notice anything unusual about the river or the croc? I mean, beyond its aggression?" Zola, however, was focused on relaying precise coordinates to the vet unit, her attention entirely consumed by the urgent call. "Liam, we can discuss theories later. What you did out there was reckless. You risked both our lives. We must respect boundaries. That's how we survive in this environment." Her tone was firm, a justified criticism he knew he deserved, but Liam's mind snagged on the metallic sheen. He secretly examined the pole again, running his thumb over the faint particles. The texture was gritty, unnatural. It wasn't just dirt or organic residue. A flicker of suspicion ignited in him, something beyond the crocodile's unusual aggression or Tao's inexplicable understanding. Was it just animal behavior, or was there something more at play, something human-made, lurking beneath the surface of the Sabi, an unseen threat waiting to be discovered? A dusty cloud heralded the arrival of the vet team, led by Dr. Anelia Mbeki, a pragmatic woman in her mid-40s whose field medical attire was already stained with the day's work. Her sharp eyes quickly assessed the scene. Liam, still buzzing with a mixture of terror and relief, pulled out his camera to share the extraordinary footage he'd managed to capture before his reckless intervention. The stress alone could trigger premature labor, Dr. Mbeki explained, her voice crisp and professional as she outlined their intervention plan. Sedate the lions, stabilize Zara, and assess the cubs. Liam watched, documenting with his lens, as the team expertly darted Tao, the Nala, and finally Zara. The tranquilizers took effect quickly, and the examination began, a stark blend of scientific precision and the raw vulnerability of the wild. The good news came like a cleansing rain after a long drought. Dr. Mbeki's face softened slightly as she scanned Zara's swollen belly with a portable ultrasound. 3 cubs, strong heartbeats. They appear unharmed. A wave of profound relief washed over Liam, easing the crushing guilt he hadn't even realized he'd been carrying. A tracking collar was carefully attached to Zara, a necessary tool for monitoring her recovery. Dr. Mbeki's expression grew serious again as she examined the deep lacerations left by the crocodile's jaws. The next 48 hours will be critical for her recovery and the continued viability of the pregnancy. As Dr. Mbeki took blood samples, Liam, remembering the faint metallic sheen on his rescue pole, spoke up. Dr. Mbeki, after the rescue, I noticed something unusual on the pole where it touched the crocodile, a faint metallic residue. Intrigued, Dr. Mbeki paused. Metallic sheen, you say? Just to be thorough, I'll run a broader toxicology panel on Zara's blood beyond the usual checks for stress hormones and infections. Slowly, the sedatives wore off. Liam watched as Tao, still groggy, stirred first, immediately checking on the lionesses. Zara struggled to her feet, leaning heavily on Tao, whose presence seemed to lend her strength. Nala, ever vigilant, scanned the surroundings. As a unit, the pride moved, seeking the thick cover of the acacia trees. Before disappearing into the dense thicket, Tao paused. He turned his massive head, his amber eyes locking directly onto Liam, with an uncanny precision, a brief, profound acknowledgement passing between them. It was a silent, unexplainable farewell, a moment that would forever be etched in Liam's memory. Back at the temporary camp, under the stark glow of a utility light, Liam, Zola, and Dr. Mbeki huddled around a laptop, reviewing the footage. Dr. Thandiwe Kunini, a renowned behavioral ecologist in her 50s, joined them, her keen observer's eye missing nothing. Highly unusual, Dr. Kunini stated, her intellectual curiosity piqued as Tao's reaction to Liam played out on screen. Lions, especially dominant males, typically react with aggression or flight in such a direct human intervention. This restraint, it suggests a form of cross-species recognition that is almost unheard of. They debated the nuances, the scientific community's cautious explanations for such anomalies. Their intense discussion was abruptly interrupted. Dr. Mbeki's phone buzzed. A preliminary report from the extended blood work she'd ordered. Her sharp features tightened as she read the screen. Liam, she began, her voice low. The toxicology panel came back. Unusual. Trace elements of a synthetic compound, very low levels, but definitely not natural to this ecosystem. A chill snaked down Liam's spine. What does that mean? Dr. Mbeki's gaze met his, grim. Could it make animals more susceptible to aggression or less able to fend off attacks? It's a hypothesis, but it would explain the crocodile's unprecedented aggression and Zara's extreme vulnerability. This wasn't just a random act of nature, was it? Liam's initial gut feeling, his nascent suspicion, was validated with a jolt. This was more than an accident. Zola, listening intently, suddenly spoke up. There have been other reports now that I think of it. Unusually aggressive behaviors among other riverine predators upstream. Crocodiles, even hippos. We dismissed them as anecdotal, individual cases. A steely conviction settled in Liam's eyes. We need to investigate upstream, he stated, his voice firm, no longer just a photographer, but a man on a mission. Something's polluting this river, and it's affecting the wildlife. We have to find it. The morning air was thick with the scent of damp earth and awakening bush as Liam and Zola embarked upstream, armed with Dr. Mbeki's startling findings. Their mission was clear: meticulously search for the source of the insidious contamination. From a hidden rocky outcrop overlooking a secluded bend in the river, they observed the Nkosi pride. The scene before them was profoundly moving. Tao, the formidable male, was actively grooming Zara, his rough tongue surprisingly gentle as he licked her recovering wounds. Beside them, Nala tore at a fresh kill, offering choice morsels to the injured mother. Males rarely contribute directly to care like this, Zola whispered, his voice awestruck. Tao is challenging everything we know about pride dynamics. Liam noticed something else. Tao frequently scanned their position, his amber eyes piercing through the camouflage of the reeds, seemingly aware of their hidden presence yet showing no aggression. He knows we're here, Liam stated, a strange conviction in his voice. He's watching us. It was a gaze not of threat, but of profound, unsettling awareness. Further upstream, the signs of pollution became undeniable. Plastic waste, bleached and brittle, clung to the riverbanks. Unusual sediment deposits, iridescent and unnatural, caked the stones. Liam knelt, running his finger over a peculiar chemical residue coating the river stones. Gritty, faintly metallic, a chilling match to the trace elements from Zara's toxicology report. Then, hidden within a dense wall of reeds, Liam spotted it. A corroded, almost camouflaged pipeline snaked from the distant hills, disappearing into the river. From its terminus, a faint discolored liquid trickled, dissolving into the murky water. Illegal dumping? Zola muttered, his voice heavy with anger, a grim realization settling on his features. And they're good at hiding it. Very good. Liam felt the pieces click into place, forming a terrifying picture. The croc wasn't random, Zola. It was a symptom. The pollutants, they cause disorientation or unnatural aggression in wildlife, making them vulnerable, easy prey, perfect for a covert operation. Someone is using this river and its animals as a distraction, a cover-up for something far more sinister. Days later, Dr. Mbeki returned for a closer examination of Zara. What transpired then cemented Liam's conviction. The pride, including Tao, allowed the intervention with unprecedented calm. No charges, no growls, only watchful amber eyes. As the team packed up, a moment of profound significance unfolded. Tao approached, not in a stalk, but a deliberate, measured gait. He stopped just 5 yards from the humans, then lowered his massive head, a gesture of acknowledgement that transcended language. The air crackled with unspoken understanding. The team froze, disbelief palpable. Did that just happen? Dr. Mbiki's assistant whispered, her voice barely audible. It happened, Liam confirmed, his camera clicking, capturing every profound moment. This isn't just gratitude, Zola. They're telling us something. His voice was low, filled with awe and a dawning sense of shared responsibility. Liam realized the lion's unusual behavior and their profound, silent acknowledgement weren't just an emotional response. They were a primal warning, a recognition of a shared enemy, a silent plea for help from the very heart of the wilderness. Back at the camp, Liam reviewed his new footage, cross-referencing Tao's direct gazes, the precise moments he'd looked towards their hidden positions, with the coordinates of the pipeline. A sinister pattern emerged, one that spoke not of chance, but of deliberate observation and a deeply intelligent awareness. The discovery of the pipeline and the undeniable animal intelligence elevated the stakes beyond anything Liam had ever imagined. This wasn't just conservation, it was a fight against a powerful hidden enemy. The Sabi River, the majestic animals, and perhaps even their own lives were caught in the crosshairs of an unseen threat that was rapidly escalating. If you're gripped by this unfolding conspiracy and the incredible bond forming between man and beast, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single crucial moment as this thrilling mystery unravels. The stakes have just escalated beyond anything you can imagine. Dr. Thendiwe Kunine, her brow furrowed in concentration, meticulously analyzed Liam's new footage alongside the toxicology results from Zara. This isn't just pollution, Liam, she stated, her voice grave. This is targeted biostress. The compounds are designed to disorient, to agitate, to make animals vulnerable. Someone wants this ecosystem destabilized. The pieces of the horrifying puzzle clicked into place. The unusual aggression in other animals, previously dismissed as isolated incidents, now formed a clear, sinister pattern. The illicit dumping was making animals easier prey, not for opportunistic poachers, but for a massive, coordinated poaching or illegal animal harvesting operation. Liam and Zola knew they couldn't wait. With minimal equipment to avoid detection, they set up a discreet stakeout near the pipeline, deep in restricted territory. "We can't involve park authorities yet," Zola explained, his face grim. "If this goes as high as I think it does, we can't trust anyone inside. We need irrefutable proof first." Under the cloak of a moonless night, their suspicions were confirmed. Heavily armed figures in unmarked vehicles moving with military precision accessed the pipeline area. They weren't just dumping, they appeared to be performing maintenance, perhaps even adjusting the discharge levels of the insidious liquid. Liam's camera, equipped with a night vision lens, silently captured every chilling detail. Further investigation, using Liam's drone, revealed a hidden, sophisticated camp upstream. It was alarmingly well camouflaged, complete with advanced monitoring equipment and, most disturbingly, animal processing facilities. This wasn't a small-time poaching ring. This was a large-scale, well-funded corporate or governmental operation, using environmental manipulation to facilitate their illicit trade, blurring the lines between criminal enterprise and state-sponsored exploitation. Liam knew he needed closer photographic evidence. As he edged forward, creeping through the dense undergrowth, his boots snagged. A tripwire. An alarm blared, piercing the night. Two armed guards, seemingly materializing from the shadows, instantly wheeled around, weapons raised. "Freeze! Who are you?" A guard barked, his voice amplified by the silence, the cold glint of his rifle locking onto Liam. "Run, Liam, run!" Zola shouted, tackling the first guard, buying them precious seconds. They were forced to flee, dodging gunfire, the crack of bullets against rock echoing through the night. Their knowledge of the terrain, forged over decades, was their only advantage against the skilled, relentless operatives. The chase was relentless. Vehicles roared to life, headlights cutting through the darkness. Drones buzzed overhead, their infrared sensors painting them as targets. "They're not just poachers, Liam," Zola shouted, gasping for breath as they scrambled over a rocky ridge. "They're professionals. This is beyond anything I've seen in the bush." Cornered near a narrow gorge, its sheer walls offering no escape, Zola made a desperate gamble. "Go, I'll draw them," he yelled, creating a diversion, luring the operatives towards himself, allowing Liam a desperate chance to escape with the crucial evidence. Liam faced an agonizing choice. Continue with the evidence, the weight of the truth pressing down on him, or risk everything to save Zola, knowing it could compromise their mission and Zola's sacrifice. As Liam hesitated, frozen by indecision, a guttural roar ripped through the gorge. Tau's roar, surprisingly close, followed by the rustling of large, powerful bodies. The lions. Alerted by the commotion, they suddenly appeared, their powerful silhouettes moving with deadly grace, their presence momentarily distracting the armed operatives. "Now, Liam, now!" Zola's voice spurred him into action. Liam didn't look back, adrenaline surging, retrieving Zola in a desperate, narrow escape. They scrambled away, shaken but alive, the roars and distant shouts of frustrated operatives fading behind them. Liam, with Zola limping heavily by his side, now held undeniable evidence. High-resolution photos of the hidden camp, the pipeline, and the armed operatives, coupled with the toxicology reports and the extraordinary footage of the lion's intelligence. The conspiracy was no longer a theory, it was a chilling, undeniable reality, far more extensive and dangerous than they had ever imagined. If you've been with us through every heart-pounding moment of this incredible journey, please hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. This final chapter reveals the shocking truth and the profound legacy of an alliance forged in the heart of the wild. In a hushed, heavily guarded room, Liam and Zola, alongside Dr. Mbeki and Dr. Kunene, presented their meticulously gathered evidence. Before a specially convened council of park authorities and international environmental agencies, Liam's high-resolution photographs of the hidden camp, the camouflaged pipeline, and the armed operatives flashed across the screen. Dr. Mbeki's toxicology reports, irrefutable proof of synthetic compounds, coupled with Dr. Kunene's analysis of the targeted biostress, painted a damning picture. Initial skepticism about the sheer scale of the conspiracy, and more incredibly, the lion's almost sentient role in exposing it, hung in the air. But Liam's compelling footage, Zara's collapse, Tau's unprecedented restraint, his protective gazes, and the final, incredible intervention in the gorge was irrefutable. The council slowly grasped the terrifying scope. This was no mere illegal poaching, it was an organized assault on a global scale, destabilizing entire ecosystems with powerful, shadowy entities behind it. 2 months later, Liam's phone buzzed with a message from Zola, accompanied by a blurry, joyous photo. Zara had given birth to 3 healthy cubs. We named them Nala, Zola, and Liam, Zola wrote, his message laden with an emotion usually reserved for his own kin. A profound warmth spread through Liam. From a respectful distance, Liam observed the Nkosi pride. Zara, a slight limp the only lingering reminder of her ordeal, moved with an almost regal grace, flanked protectively by Tao and Nala. The 3 playful cubs tumbled around her, tiny bundles of muscle and mischief, a testament to their resilience, their unique bond, and a hope for the future. As the golden light of late afternoon bathed the savannah, Tao, almost 100 yards away, turned his massive head. His amber eyes locked onto Liam, a profound, silent connection passing between them, human and predator, irrevocably linked by a shared fight. Liam's National Geographic feature, The Lion's Acknowledgement Unmasking the Kruger Conspiracy, hit the stands and the internet, immediately going viral. The story of Zara, Tao, and the intricate web of deception exposed by the unlikely alliance sparked global outrage. Petitions flooded in, protests erupted, and the world demanded answers. The evidence Liam and Zola provided fueled a massive international investigation, exposing multiple layers of a corporate governmental network involved in illegal wildlife trade and environmental devastation. The tentacles of the shadowy syndicate reached further and higher than anyone had dared to imagine. As expected, Liam and Zola faced relentless threats, smear campaigns attempting to discredit their work, and subtle acts of intimidation. But their resolve only strengthened. "We knew the risks, Liam," Zola stated, his eyes hardened with purpose. "But this is bigger than us. This is for all of them." The public outcry and the undeniable proof of the conspiracy drove unprecedented change. Increased funding poured into Kruger and other wildlife reserves, leading to expanded protections and stricter enforcement across the continent. It was a ripple effect, a small victory in a much larger war. Dr. Kunini and Dr. Mbeki's research, building on Liam's findings, began to rewrite the scientific understanding of animal cognition and cross-species communication, opening new avenues of empathy and conservation. While significant victories were won, the fight against the shadowy syndicate was far from over. It was a continuous, dangerous battle for the future of the wild, fought in boardrooms, on dusty trails, and in the quiet, desperate moments of the night. The Nkosi pride, especially Tao and his 3 thriving cubs, became a powerful symbol of resilience, a living testament to the possibility of interspecies alliance. Liam, forever changed by his experience, dedicated his life to investigative wildlife journalism, using his lens not just to capture beauty, but to expose the hidden threats that constantly endanger it. The story of the man who saved a lioness and the pride that saved him became a legend, a constant reminder that the wild holds secrets, intelligence, and an enduring spirit that demands our unwavering protection. The whisper of the wild, once ignored, now resonated with a global call to action. Under the merciless gaze of the sweltering African sun, along the parched banks of Kruger's Sabi River, a wildlife photographer named Liam Botha witnessed an encounter that would shatter his detachment and redefine his understanding of the wild. The desperation, born of scorching temperatures and dwindling water, bred volatile encounters none more harrowing than when a massive crocodile attacked Zara, a heavily pregnant lioness. Liam's reckless intervention, driven by an instinct beyond protocol, ignited a chain of events that would surprise everyone. What began as a desperate rescue spiraled into a chilling expose. The lion Tao's unprecedented restraint, followed by an almost human-like acknowledgement, was just the first anomaly. Liam and Zola soon unearthed a sinister corporate governmental conspiracy, a hidden pipeline discharging biostress agents, making animals vulnerable for a vast illicit trade, a near-fatal confrontation in a rocky gorge, where Tao and his pride unexpectedly intervened to save their human allies, solidified their bond. The evidence, compelling and irrefutable, sparked a global investigation and widespread change. Yet, as Zara's cubs, symbols of hope, thrived, the unseen war for the wild continued, a testament to an extraordinary alliance and the enduring spirit of nature that still whispers its secrets.